Welcome to the First 40 Sports Show with the Goon Squad. It's Puma along with Icewater. Do me a favor, like, subscribe, comment on our page. Not only this show, but all our shows on Chocolate 108.1. And we're going to start right off with the Heisman Trophy winner. And I was a little bit surprised about Jaden Daniels, but when I started looking at his numbers, he was putting up Joe Burrow numbers. And because I heard what you said the week prior or 2 weeks prior, that whoever won that Oregon Washington game was going to be the Heisman, and I was kind of banking on that because Penix was balling all year long, Penix Jr., and then you have Bo Nix, who is going to be a super senior. He's coming back to Oregon. I don't know how many years that. Yeah, I don't know how many years of
What?
eligibility you get. He's coming back to Oregon. They call it a
Oh,
super senior year. And so Harrison, I didn't think Harrison Jr. I didn't think he was going to win it. I thought it was really great that the Heisman Trophy folks invited him there because he's a heck of a college player. But your thoughts on this?
yeah. No, I was surprised. I mean, I didn't watch it. I mean, I thought it was in the bag. I was surprised, but like you said, when it comes down to the numbers, that's what they went off of. Uh, I get the numbers, but I guess my thing is though, I thought that this team losing 3 games
Yeah.
was going to be major, but I think they just said maybe the numbers were, as you mentioned, were too overwhelming, and that made him really stand out. From what I understand, he's a hell of a quarterback. He's mobile, can do some things. He can run, he can throw the ball, and and I think he's a transfer too, if I'm not
Yeah, from
mistaken.
Arizona State
Yeah,
University. He
yeah,
used to
yeah,
play
yeah.
under Herm Edwards. Yeah.
Yeah. Seems like one of the things too is, and I did listen to the speech. Seems like he's just a really down to earth kid, young man. That just a really good dude. I listened to him, and the people that he thanked with almost everyone. And I don't, like I said, you probably know there will be more of a on a talent level, but I'm not sure if they could have picked a nicer and the easier going personality. And I'm happy for him that he won it. And it seems too like the factor that the perseverance that he went through and things of that nature, like transferring schools and showing up the way that he did to lead his team, I think they had a lot to do with it too. So he was the guy on the squad, and everybody just had nothing but rave reviews. So hey,
Congrats.
sometimes we know, sometimes we don't.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm wondering how him entering in the NFL draft, as well as the Carolina quarterback Maine entering the draft, is going to affect how people choose quarterbacks in this upcoming draft with the NFL. But congratulations, young man! I remember seeing you at Arizona State under Herm Edwards, and you balled out there, and you came to LSU, and LSU wasn't really a good team, but you had over 50 touchdowns. You ran your behind off, so congratulations. And I just thought that they would have at least one of the Heisman Trophy winner playing in the playoffs to kind of hype the story. We always talk about stories, advertising, stuff like that. But the committee, I think you made a great choice. Let's go to Shohei Ohtani. And one of the things that I like about this story is that he goes to the Dodgers. There are a number of teams who said they wanted him. The Cubs were trying to get him. The Yankees, all these other teams. The Yankees are making some moves too, with some pickups. But I like the way he did his contract. He's like, hey, I'll take $2 million a year, and I'll get the rest of it later when I'm finished playing, which I think is smart. It's like the Bobby Bonilla story all over again, and a lot of Dodger players were doing the same thing. They were taking their money on the back end, and it seemed like the Dodgers, all these players are going to be their creditors once their playing days are over with. What do you think about this particular signing and other signings that you're seeing in Major League Baseball?
Yeah, man, I was hurt. I was hurt.
Where'd you want him to go?
Just somewhere. I mean, the Dodgers, man, Dodgers, Yankees. I mean, come on, man. I mean, I understand the warm weather and whatnot, but it's almost maybe I'm one of them just angry kids, always like on the Bad News Bears teams or whatever from back in the day growing up. That you just go, man, the rich get richer. They always getting somebody. You just mad. And Grant, from his perspective, I get it. He's been on a very tough situation with a losing franchise, and he wanted to win, and he still likes the warm weather. And what better place than the Dodgers, man? I mean, look, he's gonna be royalty out there already. He's already baseball royalty, and with the Dodgers, they're gonna have it just right. But $700 million contract, and you defer $680 million.
Yeah.
Man, that is a contract in heaven for an owner, right? 680. I only need like 2 million. That's
Yeah.
all I
How much
need.
do you really need being a professional athlete? Because
Yeah, but
everything is given to you. You have advertising dollars, all that other stuff. How much do you really need per year from a team?
yeah, but it's still nice to know this there, right?
Yeah.
He said, like, I'm gonna get you, we're gonna cook you up in 10 years. Like 10 years, can I go down to the bank and at least touch my money or see my money? And just that's just something where you go the taxes and I mean that tells you he's a real athlete. That tells you also he wants to play there. Because my understanding is that the Giants, San
San
Francisco
Francisco,
Giants,
yeah. They
they had a
offer the same.
very similar, if not the same, contract.
Mm-hmm.
So he chose to go where he wanted to win, and so I mean that's where he wanted to be. And for who he is, I'm happy for him. I'm pissed off at the Dodgers because again, so if y'all don't win it this year, I don't want to hear it. And he's not pitching this year. He's gonna just bat. I mean, what else you got to do? So it is. I get it. I understand it. I just don't like it because, like I said, I want to do something different. But then you turn around where the Giants made a big pickup too, right? Jung Hoo Lee.
Mm-hmm.
So they're trying to make some moves, and I think the Giants really wanted to kind of hit a home run, big time. They wanted to move on and pick up some people. So who is it? Also, to Philadelphia re-signed a couple people. Eduardo Rodriguez signed a 4-year deal with Arizona, so they're trying to shore up some pitching. He came from Detroit. There are a number of other ones too. Let me see who else is over here. Sonny Gray signed with the Cardinals. Right-handed pitcher was formerly with Minnesota Twins. They mentioned about Lee before doing this thing, coming over from overseas to get it done. There's going to be some more big ones out there too. I don't think we're just done just yet. And I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the Yankees losing Luis or Severino,
Mm-hmm.
going from that to from the Yankees over to the Mets. And I know you want to talk about the Yankees' big crazy trade with Padres.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see how that pans out with Soto, and they definitely need that left hand bat. And Juan Carlos, I think his days are numbered because it seems like the Yankees are saying, the guys who are not producing, we're getting guys that can produce, and I think they're listening for offers for that guy because he hasn't produced ever since he's been there. He's got a big contract, so I can see them letting Stanton go at this particular point because he's really not really kind of giving them anything with his bat or his defense. So it just seems like they're trying to build. With Soto, you play him anywhere you want to in the outfield. You got that
Mm-hmm.
left hand bat, and so I think they pulled a Korean player, um, the Yankees, who
Yeah.
is a hitter, who is a solid hitter. So they're looking to really kind of jumpstart that offense, score some runs, and get into the thick of things when it comes to October of next year. So I'm looking forward to seeing what other moves they make because I don't think they're finished at this particular point.
Yeah, yeah. You can just tell that they're ready to move forward, bringing in, like you said, another guy out in the outfield, kind of move some stuff around, give them a little bit more flexibility. I also know the Philadelphia Phillies are trying to stand pat, right? They put down some money for some veterans for them to stand pat. So they're very close. Philadelphia has been very close the last couple of years, and they're trying to feel like one or two little tweaking some things here and there, making a few tweaks might put them actually in the driver's seat because we know if everything goes right and they're healthy, it seems as if Texas is going to be good for a very long time.
Okay, let's go to women's college basketball. And Kim Milkey is having a tough time trying to keep the national championship team together. One of her players earlier was dropped, I think, because of allegedly academic reasons. Another player, Katara Poole, is no longer with LSU basketball. It seems like every time I see Kim Milkey, she's at a press conference trying to answer for why she's losing players or why players aren't playing. And it just seems like you win a championship, everything starts to unravel. Your thoughts on this, man?
Yeah, I mean, I see it from two sides, right? You always look at it from the player's standpoint as to what was going on there. Is the coach being Kim Mulkey being over the top, right? She being too hard when they just won a national championship. But on the other hand, you look at it from the coach standpoint, she's like, look, we have a standard here, right? We're trying to do the right thing, and if you don't want to be part of it, then we're trying to win another championship or at least contend for one. And last year was last year. Okay, we won. No one really probably expect us to do that, but we got to focus on this year. And this year's team is different, even though we have a few major players back and superstars even, but we still had to have a different approach. And from that standpoint, say what you want to about uh, young ladies not taking part in it, like Poole, no longer a member of the team, right? And we're looking at Angel as well too, just kind of doing her thing. But I kind of applaud Mulkey for like you gotta get this thing under control, right? And that means somebody got to go. They got to go because you just because you got some money and we were champions prior to last year. We were the champions, defending champions. You still got to earn it again. And what precedent are you setting for the new young ladies that are coming in as well? You know, if you're a champion, you just can't be buck wild because you don't want to practice hard. You don't want to do, and I don't know the whole thing, so I'm only speculating. But Kim Mulkey is like probably said, "This is not my first rodeo," and probably told both of them, Angel and Miss Reese and Miss Poole, y'all need to get it together, get in line. And truth be told, y'all not even the best players I ever had.
Hmm.
I can see her saying something like that. Like, you know what? I'm not gonna let anybody, superstar, whatever, come in and try to destroy my program. Because we have standards. You don't want to do it, hit the door.
Yeah, it will be interesting watching how that plays out throughout the year. I mean, the season just started, and you're having these issues. There are two point guards, and I'll come up with their names and talk about them in detail next week. Watch out for the point guard at South Carolina under Dawn Staley, and watch out for the point guard at USC. Those point guards are worth the watch. I know everybody's watching the men's and watching NBA basketball, which you're going to go to next, but these point guards are something special. And there's also a player out of Utah. She's kind of short and stout. She reminds me of a female Charles Barkley. She's going to get her shot off, and she's not as big as some of the bigs in women's college basketball. But I'll come up with those names and do a feature story on those three young ladies that I saw this week. Let's go to NBA basketball. You got the Celtics leading in the Eastern Conference, followed by the Magic, Bucks, and 76ers. Um, last time we talked, the in-season tournament happened, and the Lakers are putting up their banner for winning the in-season tournament. Kobe Bryant must be turning over in his grave right now. You putting a banner other than a NBA championship up on the rafters. You got the Timberwolves leading the West, and followed by the Thunder, followed by the Mavericks. The Nuggets are number 4. I was expecting the Nuggets to kind of just take this away and be in first place, but the season is still young, just barely past 20 games. The Lakers are number 6, and you have the Kings at number 5. And the Golden State Warriors. And I keep saying this, and I've said it over and over and over again. You have another incident by Draymond Green. We could talk about that a little later, but I want to get your eye test. But here's another incident where, if you've seen it, it was so uncalled for. And a lot of people are, saying, something may be wrong with Draymond Green mentally. For him to just be going off like that in a basketball game, it wasn't really called for. And who's to blame here? Draymond Green or Coach Kerr, who keeps putting him in there and kind of going with the excuses that Draymond Green is giving on why he's doing what he's doing out in the court.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Because you know the loyalty that Steve Kerr has to Draymond Green. Plus, two, when you think about it from this standpoint, with his team, he's an integral part because some of the other guys that maybe brought on and they're lacking down low. Also, from the veteran leadership he's providing, or they need to have him on that squad. He brings a lot to the table when he's on that floor. And right now they're struggling. They're struggling big time. Uh, say what you want to, Clay Thompson not the same guy, right? He's
He's
not
not.
the same guy. Some of the other guys you expect coming off the bench and doing some things as much as I like Chris Paul. Chris Paul's older too. Steph is gonna be Steph, we know that, but you have to have Wiggins doing his thing. You just need so much more, and I'm not sure if they have it because, like you said, the Splash Brothers are not. It's a half a splash, not because Thompson to me is not just the same player, and they just don't have that chemistry as they had before. So I think that has a lot to do with it. But looking at the rest of the situation. When you look at the East, you mentioned Boston being number one. They're playing their butts off. You think about the streak; they're like 7-10 in their last 7-3 in their last 10, really getting it done. Um, what can you say about Orlando, man? When you look at Orlando's team, when you look on paper, you don't really think they can do it, but
Right.
they're young, they're aggressive, they play hard, they're hungry, and they're just having fun with it. So I like them as well. The Damian Lillard experiment in Milwaukee is not going off as well as people thought. They're exciting to watch, but I think there's some elements that are missing, and maybe some of the reserve players that they're normally usually have that are not just there. And I think they're gonna struggle winning. Philadelphia's kind of okay. They remind me of Milwaukee and Philadelphia almost very not the same team, but they're in the same type of level where they're at. And I know Milwaukee has won before, but it's like they're trying to figure it out. They're not really ready to blow anybody out. I
The
am impressed
chemistry.
by
They got to build chemistry. I think in Milwaukee
yeah,
more so than Philadelphia.
I agree with that too. But I think I like Indiana because they're young. I love watching Indiana play there too. Then I'm gonna flip over to the West. Um, Minnesota is playing lights out. But my question with that being said, how long does it last?
Yeah.
That's what they do. How long does it last? OKC, as you know, is one of my favorites. I just hope the off the court and all the other stuff that's going on does not derail them because they could easily do that. But they're one of my favorite teams because they're young and it's almost as if they don't know any damn better. So they play hard and they think they're really good, which they are. They remind me truthfully of the old OKC team with James Harden, Westbrook, Kevin Durant. It's just and Serge Ibaka. They had so many players on that team, and Jeff Green, young guys ready to play and win. And I think that's what OKC is like now. Dallas is a two-headed monster, right? With Kyrie
Well, one
and
headed
Luka.
now. Kyrie is hurt, walking around with a boot. So
Oh my
we,
God!
we knew
Well,
this
so
was
much
going to
for
happen.
that.
We knew it was
Well,
going to happen.
prior to him getting hurt, they were dropping between the two of them like 70 points
Yeah.
a game. 70 points a game. This is going to help. It's going to be a deterrent for them trying to win. Number 4, Denver. Without Murray, they're just not the same team. I know we talk about the Joker, and the Joker's amazing, and we have Carter, all that Junior Williams and all that Carter, but the shooter. But there are a lot of things there, but without Murray, and I think Murray's back now, they're simply not the same team. Um, Still like Sacramento, I think they're a piece or two away. Lakers are the Lakers. They won a little championship in the middle. See what happens there. Clippers,
Mm-mm.
man, they play the way they can. I am looking at trying to see what happens with Phoenix,
Yeah.
right? Because they haven't been healthy. But I still looking at the way that this is going up right now. I don't think there's any clear cut favorite in either division. I think that there's a lot of we're gonna have a lot of movement in between as the season goes on to see who moves where. who starts to get hot, but you might have it very similar where there's a lot of different movement in between the numbers after 3 on, right, as we go towards the playoffs. So I think you'll see a lot of movement back and forth until somebody gets some real chemistry. A couple teams get some real chemistry, start playing real hard, playing well together, and start running some strings of victories. But until then, I think it's almost like a free for all. Depending on what night you catch a team, that's how it's running because anybody can beat anybody at this point.
Yeah, I never really understood the Golden State acquisition of Chris Paul. I just I didn't know how that was going to end up, and it doesn't seem like he is the answer. I didn't think he was going to be the answer. The younger players are still trying to emerge there. Denver is really kind of hitting that wall all championships teams hit, where everybody's coming after you every night, and tempers are flaring. I think Djokovic, this is the second game he's been thrown out of or ejected out of, and losing his temper or quick whistles by the referees. And I just see Milwaukee; they just need more time to gel. And other teams like Minnesota, get your wins early. I mean, if you're gonna plateau in the second part of the season, that's fine. But get into the playoffs if you can. But I look at the Lakers and they're saying, hey, we're gonna put that banner up for the first tournament, and I'm like, I don't know how Laker land feels about that. I really don't. I know Kobe Bryant wouldn't like that at all because we put championship banners up, not in-season championships or tournament championships. The team that really surprised me a lot is the Indiana Pacers. Those young guys. I'm still mad at the Knicks from getting rid of Toppin. I'm still mad at them because I think Toppin's one of the most versatile big men out there, and he's underrated in my opinion. But when I look at the NBA now, looking at the Golden State Warriors, looking at the Phoenix Suns, it's like you get a lot of big name players, but you don't think about how is this player going to fit into our scheme, or how do we fit them in and putting them in positions to win. You look at the Clippers, maybe it's going to be buyer's remorse at some particular point in the season because you got some players there that really haven't really kind of done it other than Kawhi Leonard. So, how are you going to fix this going within the season? Because the season started now. You can't kind of go back to training camp and go, okay, let's work on some things. You got to do things on the fly. And I just don't see teams like the Clippers, Philly, certain teams like Milwaukee, even though they're trying to gel. Some of these teams that we saw as kind of the old guard, kind of fixing these things during the season and being playoff ready or championship ready at the end of the season.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I said, it's gonna be interesting. You see teams making little runs and trying to get some chemistry together. I think that if these teams do not develop well, you're gonna see some upstart teams like a la OKC step up and shock people. They're ready to win now. I watched them play Golden State earlier in the year in the overtime game, and it was like, ain't nobody scared of y'all. Nobody's scared of y'all. These young guys is like, and you just had that moxie. I like their coach with the chemistry. Like I said, the only thing that may derail them is the factor that they had these off the court incidents and stuff. Some of their guys are in the media. They can squash that. They can be a contender down the line. So we'll see how it plays out.
All right. College basketball, the men. You have Arizona number one, followed by Kansas, Purdue, Houston, UConn, and North Carolina played last week, and they still hold their same spots in number five and number nine. You have Baylor at number six, Marquette at number seven. You have Creighton at number eight. They were number 10 last week. North Carolina again, they're number nine, and Gonzaga at number 10. They dropped 3 spots down from number seven. Your thoughts and eye test on college basketball, sir?
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Arizona's number one right now. I think Saturday they're playing number three Purdue. That's gonna be a hell of a game. Trying to want to see if Arizona's still for real. Kansas is just talented, and we know what they're doing. They're hovering that too. Uh, Funny about this is they allow Purdue to jump Houston. I know that's probably Houston's like that's so disrespectful, but Purdue after they lost to Northwestern, they're kind of like Houston's like, what the hell we got to do? We beat some very good teams along the way in these tournaments, and y'all just do what you do. UConn's very good. It may not be the UConn of last year, but they're big, they're strong, they're playing that way that Mr. Hurley likes to play, and he has some athletes to do it. Even if they don't come and blow anybody away, they will be very difficult to face in the tournament. You do not want to see them. You just do not want to see them. Marquette is moving up, still making some things push from their standpoint too. North Carolina snuck in at number 9. That's a little that
Yeah,
type of thing.
I thought they would drop, but the game they played with UConn is like this is a game I remember watching it saying this is a game I want to see late in the season in tournament. This I mean, because you could see the teams feeling each other out. UConn overpowered them towards the end, but you could see kind of North Carolina like, okay, we want you again to see, you know, after this season is over with and go to March Madness, we'll be ready.
Yeah, I want to. When I'm curious right now, looking at this, looking at the standings, Tennessee's like number 12.
Mm-hmm.
They're trending up. Um, I think Kentucky's going to be a problem as once they get their big fellas back after the new year. They got a couple of guys that are injured. Once they get that chemistry together, I think they're going to be a problem. Um, Also, Duke. I know Duke is like number 21 right now.
Yeah.
But once they start to gel, get into conference, more conference play, Duke is going to be a major problem. You do not want to play teams like Northwestern either. I think Northwestern is very scrappy.
They just got in the top 25 along with Virginia.
Right,
And Northwestern is 25. Now you got Virginia at 22. These teams weren't even ranked last week.
right. And even you can say the same thing about Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
These are scrappy teams, right, that we've known in the past for the programs are concerned. And I think they're going to cause some damage. And early on, I was looking at watching the run of so many games in a row that Ohio State was making till they lost, end up losing. They were up by 18 and lost to Penn State. Penn State's not really a horrible team, but there's going to be some surprises. And I think as we move forward in the Big Ten, I think it's kind of a little bit wide open, right? There's a lot of open spots, and you're going to say to yourself in this tournament, if you're not ready, you get hit, you get taken down. I think there's going to be a lot of parity. That's why I see the back and forth. With the only team that really been truly consistent right now to me has been Arizona. But we're going to find out Saturday because that's why they play the games. And if they've dropped, then we got another shake up. And then at that point, if they drop, do you put Kansas back at 1? Do you put Purdue at 1? And Houston's like, what about us? What we got to do? So it's, I love this time of year because you see how the dominoes fall. Things are coming together. Baylor has snuck up to number 6.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot
That's
of people
that.
forgot about Baylor after they won the championship a few years ago, but that's a good team, well coached team too.
There's not a lot of people talking about Baylor.
All right.
You see them, but a lot of people are not talking about Baylor. But this time of year is great because it's also Creighton. Creighton is like number 8. Nobody's talking about these teams,
Yeah.
but I love it because now you can afford to fall down, have a run, but not have a nice little streak, pick yourself back up, work on the things that you need to do because we still have a large chunk of basketball to play. So we'll just have to see that how that goes, and it's great basketball. So I'm looking forward to it. Something to watch.
Yeah. And I would really encourage people to look at teams that did make the top 25. Some of those teams that are like Alabama, who gave Purdue everything they can handle.
Yeah.
And so some of those teams that are not ranked in the 25, don't sneeze on those teams. There are only 25 that can get in the top 25, but there's some good teams and good basketball being played. Your last second shot, man.
Yeah, my last second shot is I want to talk about the media and NBC, ABC, all these groups. Okay, I think it's NBC if I'm not mistaken. What are y'all doing? I know Al Michaels is older. I know he's an older guy, but damn, don't he deserve a little bit more respect than that?
Right.
I mean, even if he is slow and he's maybe not be the fastest with his width, he may seem dry. But isn't there a better way to kind of escort him off the air without just kind of putting it out there like that? You knew he was older when you first brought him back, or you had him around there, and you should be sparingly using him at all. But now everything seems like it's a number in a ratings game. You have I think a guy that's 27 years old. Uh, I think it's Eagle. His last name is Ian Eagle. His dad's a famous announcer as well. You're going to use a 27-year-old young man to try to bring some life to everything. I mean, you could do that, and maybe he does need a little bit more life to your broadcast, should I say? But damn, doesn't he after all he's done, all of the great calls he's made, doesn't he deserve a better way of being just kind of brushed out without kicking him out the same way? I mean, if he's older, you knew he was older when you first brought him back. Part time. But now that's how you do. Yes, it is.
Yeah, I thought that was sad. They didn't. He thought he was, on the schedule to do it, and they didn't even let him know until it got out in the press. I think. Sticking to the theme of media, looky here. A lot of people uh, didn't like Mark Jackson, didn't like Coach Gundy doing the games, but they absolutely hate Doris Burke and Doc Rivers doing the NBA game. You have people in the comments in a post I made on our sports page on Facebook, the First 40 Sports page, that they turned their, I thought I was the only one who really did this. They turned their TV on mute. They would rather be on mute than to listen to Doc Rivers and Doris Burks. And so I've even heard some sports announcers that were doing NBA games copy Mark Jackson in all his, all the sayings he was saying. Mama, there go that man. If you're going to do that, put the guy back on, put Coach back on. I know I really, they got on my nerves sometimes, but I'd rather have those two back than what I'm hearing in the NBA. And I know maybe you didn't want to, spend the money, all that other stuff, but you got NBA fans who are like, you know what? These two gotta go. And I agree with them. I'm all for it. Doc Rivers, go coach somewhere. Doris Burke, do some other stuff other than the NBA. It's good sometimes, but not every featured game. But please bring Mark Jackson back, coach back. Just bring him back. Bring him back. Because we're used to it's like you hate him, but you're used to it, so you'll deal with it. But these two, it's like I don't see any kind of long term, success with these two. I just can't see it. I thought I was the only one that just turned my music on, turned the TV on mute, and just watched the game. I don't want to listen to it. Put Herbie Hubie Brown in there. Anybody but these two. Anybody. I don't know how you tested it, but it's not working. That's our show. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you next time.